I just viewed my admissions file to see how I got into Stanford, and turns out I wasn't supposed to go to this school. Alright, let's talk about what just happened. Over winter break, I went online and I signed up to view my FERPA document, or basically my admissions file, which would show me all of the information about how I actually got into Stanford and what the readers who saw my application thought about me and my scores and all of that stuff. So today I had my appointment. You go to the Student Services Center and then you're taken into a room, and there's just a desk and a computer there and some dividers. So you're just like by yourself. You can't have your phone, you can't take any pictures, you can only have a pen and paper. And then you get 20 minutes to view your admissions file and write down anything that you want from it. I honestly felt like 20 minutes was a perfect amount of time. I wrote down literally everything that was important and everything that the reader said about me, that my arts supplement reader said about me, that my interview said about me, all my scores, blah, 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 all of that. So now I'm going to go over it and explain how I got into Stanford. So the first thing that I saw was a bunch of different letters and numbers, and they all mean different things. So the first thing was ethnicity, ETH, and the tags for that were 2, 2C, 5E, 5. I have no idea what that means. I am half white and half Chinese, so it's probably that. The next thing was PRI, and it says 2C for that. I also don't know what that is, but I promise that what I'm about to say later, I will know what it means. So this whole video is not going to be me just going, I don't know what I'm saying, because I do know what I'm saying at some points. GPA, it says high GPA 4.25. And then SU6 was a 4.0. I'm assuming that's maybe some other form of evaluating my GPA. Then it says rigor, and under rigor it says MD, and MD means most demanding from what I've heard. Then rank is 1, because I was ranked 1 at my school. And I thought it was interesting, there was actually a little category for arts/sports. And for me, it was Art 1W. I'm assuming that just means she does art. And then my interview score was 332. So about scores. Now that's what I'm going to talk about. So it's graded on a scale from 1 to 6, and 1, 2, and 3 are like the highest numbers that you can get. So yeah, lower the number, the better it is. So then it says the test rating, which for me was a 3. And then now I'm going to go into specifically my Reader 1 and Reader 2 evaluations. So Reader 1, I also wrote down the date that this was recorded on. So Reader 1 did this on February 9th, 2019. So my test rating was a 3. HSR, which means high school rigor, was at a 3. Support was at a 3. EC, which means extracurriculars, was at a 1. SPIV means intellectual vitality, that was at a 2. And then the overall evaluation was a 2-. And then it said, Reader 1, Review 2, Leaning In. So then my Reader 1 touched on several different things in their comment. The first thing they said was, Dylan PQs an IV in PE about developing an app to help elders inspired by grandfather with dementia. I don't know what PQs is. IV is intellectual vitality. PE, I'm also not sure about. The next thing they said is Girls Who Code ECE. I'm not sure what ECE means, but they are noting that I did Girls Who Code. And then it says IV, intellectual vitality, about comparing art to math concepts, which I did in one of my essays. And then it says FA1, art notes that there is a range of emotions in work and psychologically rich. So FA1, I'm assuming, is the art supplement reader. And then they said Scholastic Art and Writing National Medalist. And then they said writer and performer, and then there was some stuff that was redacted, so it was blacked out and I couldn't see it. And it said interview 332, and then interesting mix of various interests as noted by her diverse extracurriculars and her essays. Intellectual vitality, fairly strong, leaning in. And then at the bottom of that little comment, I guess there is some more notes that they happened to write, which was FA artist BA, which means my father was an artist and earned a bachelor's degree. And then MO actor some COL Taiwan, which means my mother is an actor and had some college and came from Taiwan. My next reader, which is the second reader, and there's only two, did their evaluation on February 25th, 2019. So the test rating was a 3, the high school rigor was a 3, support a 3, extracurriculars a 1, intellectual vitality 3, and then total evaluation a 2. And then it said reader 2, review 2, comma, rec admit. So maybe that means they are recommending to admit me? Their comment was a lot shorter. They just said warmer than R1, meaning they're warmer than the first reader. Clear POV with FA equals 1. So I think that's something to do with my art supplement. And then there is some blacked out stuff that I didn't get to see. And then it said, and solid SPIV, meaning solid intellectual vitality. And then they said 2/3 in parentheses. Lots of nice pieces here. Interview solid, good kid, mature, could add a few pieces to the class of 2023. That's sweet. And then the little notes that they wrote at the bottom was IVE solid, so intellectual vitality solid, rank 1, girls who code. What I think is interesting is how much these readers are marking girls who code. Like, I guess that was a really good summer program for me to do. Thank goodness I did it. You guys should do it if you are a girl and you like to code. It's free. Okay, next was the art practice portfolio ratings. So that one, the evaluation was done on January 14th, 2019. The overall rating was a 1, and then it said tag, hold, comma, wish list, dash, yes. The comment was, the coherence and delicacy of this portfolio is spectacular. This artist is starting to develop a range of emotions in their work as well. All these images feel psychologically rich. I would like to see how this applicant develops their work if pushed to try and engage with other media as well. So that was really sweet. And then lastly was my interviewer. And so for the scores for that, the interviewer said intellectual vitality was a 3, depth and commitment was a 3, character and self-presentation was a 2. And then here's what he said. Dylan was very sweet, and I found her to be a delightful interviewee. I thought she had great poise and was very easy to talk to, adequately answering my questions but also engaging me in a more conversational style. She presented a good case through software development, and we talked in some depth about her immersive summer experience with Girls Who Code. She was a little shakier about the status of an application she's currently working on, focused on elder care, but the vision she laid out for me seemed quite advanced for a high school student to design, so I wouldn't count anything against her if this app never comes to fruition. She was willing and able to discuss interpersonal dynamics with her classmates, friends, and theater partners, and told a revealing tale of leading a group of girls to present a condensed 8-minute version of the musical Bring It On. Dylan led the writing, directing, and rehearsal logistics of the project and was forced to whip her somewhat apathetic cohort into shape. She referenced the group dynamic predicament as an example of diffusion of responsibility, a concept she learned about in her AP psychology class. Though tears were shed during some tenser moments, the production ultimately came together and she felt stronger friendships with her teammates when all was done. While I can't speak to her grades and scores, Dylan seems to show genuine intellectual curiosity. She certainly came off as extremely kind and empathetic, and I imagine she could get along with just about anybody. That was so nice, and I really appreciate that, and I had a really good time at my interview. I felt like I really connected with my interviewer. So something that I think is really interesting and important here is that he mentioned a lot about this whole other story that I had told him in my interview that wasn't included in my application. Because in my interview, I I wanted to specifically make sure he understood like who I really was as a person and like what other experiences I had gone through. So I used that as an opportunity to share this story about me working on this theater piece. And so now it shows that really paid off because he talked about it a whole lot in his comment. Also, the part where he said I was a little shakier about the app I was working on, that part was highlighted in the admissions file. It was kind of funny. It was like all the other parts were like regular, just text and white background, but this part was highlighted. So I don't know, that's kind of interesting, but whatever. The rest of the admissions file just included my whole application, so everything that I submitted. So I just kind of scrolled past that because I knew that was just everything that I produced, so I didn't need to see it again. And then at the end, which I thought was kind of interesting, was information about my school, my high school that I was coming from. And I'm assuming this is information that my own high school submitted to them. So it had a little blurb about my school, and then it also had a pie chart showing the ethnic diversity and like their average SAT scores and stuff like that. And I just noted that in the little blurb that my high school was talking about, they specifically mentioned that it was an arts high school, so they were talking about arts education and especially serving the underserved. And my high school said that it was located in the heart of Los Angeles, where there are very high poverty and crime rates, et cetera, et cetera. So they really emphasized how it was kind of in an underserved community, and that's what they're working towards, to serve students in those areas and give them arts education. So that just gave Stanford a background of where I was coming from and what kind of school and environment and what the other students in my school were like, so they were able to compare me to them. So yeah, definitely where you come from and your school and how hard and difficult your school was matters in the application process, because they do compare you to the other students in your school. So overall, oh yeah, back to the top, at the very top when I was listing all those numbers and letters and weird things, in the top right corner it says 4-0-0 admit. So I'm assuming this is just like, she's admitted. All right, y'all, so that was my admissions file. That was how I got into Stanford and what my readers and interviewers and art supplement reader thought of me. I think it really points out what stands out to them. And specifically in my story, it was a lot that I did Girls Who Code, and me as an artist going to an art school, and a lot of the extracurriculars that I did. And I think also me as a person and intellectual vitality and leadership, because I talked about that in my interview. So all of those things definitely contributed to my admission and me attending here. Yay! Thanks for watching this video. I hope it provided some insight, and I will see you guys later. Hopefully I will do a dorm tour eventually. Oh my goodness, I know I need to, and you're already seeing it right here. I also got this pig. It's really cute. I love it. All right, I should sign off now. See you later.